everyone, it's Elaine, and today I'm going to be reviewing the third book in the Ender Quartet, which is Xenocide. In this book, Ender is an adult and he's still living in the Lusitania colony. At this point, he thinks that the Hive Queen, the humans, and the Peganinos can live together in peace, but he soon realizes that that's not really the case. Basically, there's this virus called the Descolata on the planet. It's in everything, and there doesn't really seem to be a cure. Problem is that this virus kills the humans it infects if they're not being treated and the symptoms aren't being managed. And at the same time, it allows the Paganinos to become adults and to make it into the third life. Starways Congress knows about the existence of this virus and they fear it. They know that it could cause a lot of problems if it were to make it off the planet, and they decide to send a fleet to destroy Lusitania and everyone on it. The end seems nigh. The second Xenocide seems like it's right around the corner, and everyone on Lusitania is basically scrambling to find a way out of the situation until the fleet disappears. And at this point, they feel like they might survive. However, a young girl, her name is Qing-jao, or Gloriously Bright, is given the task of figuring out what the heck happened and what can be done to restore and or locate the fleet. It's obvious that at some point she will figure out what happened because she was bred for superintelligence, like all of the people on Path. And ultimately, the question becomes, what will she do when she finds out what happened? Will she choose to, restore the fleet, help Starways Congress like she was bid, or will she help the people of Lusitania and the Hive Queen and the Becaninos? Although I like this book, I would not describe it as Card's best work. It was fast-paced. It was a good, natural continuation to Speaker for the Dead, but there were a lot of issues, which made me dislike it in some ways, even though it was still a unique novel. First of all, like the Speaker for the Dead, this novel had a lot of typos and grammatical errors, which got a little tiring after a while. I also was not fond of the characters that were introduced into this novel, mainly the characters from Path. So this would be Qing-jao, her father Fei-tzu, and then Wang-Mu. And most of the problems I had with them basically surrounded Qing-jao in particular. I basically got tired about reading about this character who constantly felt dirty and felt the need to cleanse and purify herself by tracing wood grain lines. I got tired of her sense of superiority because she was God-spoken and could hear these, quote, voices in her head. I was tired of her self-righteousness. It was just this constant annoying thing. I also wasn't really fond of Wang-Mu. I mean, she was a more bearable character, but she also had a very severe inferiority complex, and that was just a little irritating. I also felt as though there were a lot of chapters and sections within those chapters that really didn't add to the story. They just drew it out for no point in purpose. And a lot of these I noticed were more just these kind of roundabout, circular, internal monologues. And then finally, I was also kind of confused by some of the things, that I read. For example, in the beginning of the novel, Ella decides to create basically a virus to replace the Descolata that will not affect the humans negatively and the buggers negatively, and will allow the Peganinos to continue, reproducing and having their lives and, peace. And the Hive Queen has a way to basically hack into the minds of, other people and other races. And even though Ender knew this information and knew about this ability and supposedly could not block her from doing it, the Hive Queen managed somehow to not find out about it, and Ender wasn't worried that she would, which I find strange. If she could, get into his mind to figure other things out, and if he was afraid of her figuring out other things, why wouldn't he be afraid of her finding out this information? Because it's kind of important, and it was supposed to be a secret. So all in all, it was a decent book. It was definitely a bit better than Speaker for the Dead, but definitely, like I said, not Card's best work, but something that you might want to read, especially if you liked Ender's Game and some of the other books in Card's universe. Overall, it's a 3.2 out of 5 stars. Thanks for listening.